Hello viewers, I'm God Tier Wizard, and it's that time again. The fall season of anime. And with it, my first anime season impressions video. No, don't, that one doesn't count. Please, don't watch it. But before I start, I'd like to clear up exactly how my rating process will work. Essentially, each show is divided into one of three categories. These three categories can be found on my anime list, and I promise I didn't just take them straight from there. Now just to clarify, if anybody doesn't know what the categories mean, if I'm watching something, it means I'll be keeping up with it week by week until the end of the season when it's done. Or if it continues into the next season, I'll be keeping up with it as well, probably. If something is on hold, it means I see some worth in it, but it's probably not worth watching week by week. It's not that it's garbage, but I'd probably feel that it would be better consumed all at once as opposed to a weekly basis. Then lastly, I'm sure you all saw it coming, if I drop something, it means that it's shit. And if you enjoy it, you probably have shit taste, because I have a very generous taste, and when I say something's bad, it's probably not great. Or I'm just really biased. Fuck scorching ping pong girls. Also note that these opinions are based on anywhere between 1 to 3 episodes of each show, so they're not my final opinions on the finished products, but, well, don't think too much about it. Let's get right into it. I'll be kicking off the season with this weed whacker motherfucker who won't stop using his weed whacker out goddamn side. I'll be kicking off the season with, what's the Madoka thing? Oh god, Magical Girls Rasing Project. That's what it is. Now I've never seen Madoka Magica, but it's got a good premise, right? And this one has the same one, so I wanted to check this one out. Well, that and the fact that its mascot it's just Monokuma. Its main problem, though, barring its unoriginality, is that 3 episodes in, I still haven't gotten to the part where they actually kill each other. So, it's a pretty slow start. And you know what I do with shows that have slow starts? I put them on hold. On the complete other end of the spectrum, Occult 9 is all over the goddamn place in its first episode, and boy do I not know what to do with that. I feel like it's going for like a supernatural Durarara, but the most supernatural thing in the show is the size of this girl's boobs. Oh boy, look at them things bounce. Woo! Now that's supernatural. This one's going on hold because for better or for worse, I just want to know where it's going. Something a little less ridiculous, but actually comprehensible, is the comedy genius of Gakuen Handsome. Pointy chins, romance, MS Paint animation, whatever the fuck that is. Oh my god, it hurts my eyes, please stop. What's not to love? Episodes are about 3 minutes long too, so this one's definitely worth a watch. Go watch it, it's funny. If you like short form shows, there were quite a few this season, so here's 3 more that I watched. Ao Oni, or Blue Oni, had a funny first episode where the whole cast died in a pretty gruesome way, but its next episode wasn't funny, and that's how you get dropped. If you like literal toilet humor, like actual jokes about actual toilets, then watch To Be Hero. To me, though, its jokes come off as quantity over quality most of the time, and are really fast-paced, but I still think they're decent enough in conjunction with the themes to put it on hold. The last of the 3 short-form shows is Cheating Craft, and Cheating Craft is what you get when you take the written part of the Naruto Chunin exams and make them so over-the-top and goofy that you just have a guy shooting people down with his pen. The first episode of this show was really strong, but it does kind of fall off after that, so I still want to watch it, but I'm going to be putting it on hold. Now I think it's that time again to talk about something I'm actually keeping up with this season. Drifters. It started with a weak first episode to me, but after the second one, I realized the show wasn't meant to be anything deep or serious. It was just kind of a fun, over-the-top action series where a bunch of dead people fight and kill each other. And boy, does this show already have an amazing soundtrack. That opening? Those backing tracks? That's some good shit right there. I wouldn't expect it to have really deep themes or an intricate plot, but its action scenes are fun enough for me to keep watching. And with that, we're right back into the garbage, baby. Bloodivores. Technically, Bloodivores is a Chinese cartoon, and it's shit, just like its shit logo. The one thing that wasn't shit was when this guy got beat up by the police. I dropped Bloodivores. Tiger Mask was something I originally hedged my bets on before it aired. Wrestling? 80s anime style? How could it be bad, you ask? Well, I'll tell you how. By being a painfully mediocre wrestling anime with 80s style. I love 80s shonen anime, but Tiger Mask is not that. It's a new 80s shonen anime, and it's boring, and that is an unforgivable crime. So although it pains me to say it, I dropped Tiger Mask. I dropped it like that guy dropped off that cliff. I found myself on the fence about www.working. Its premise is a generic story about a generic boy who has to work a generic restaurant job so his eccentric family isn't poor. A slice of life show like this is mainly about the characters. The problem is that from what I've seen so far, about 2 episodes, the fairly large cast of characters are unique, but they're also kind of bland. So I'm left having to decide if waiting for them to develop will pay off or just piss me off in the end. For that reason, I'm putting it on hold, but also because this girl serving the ghosts is pretty fucking funny. Another show with an even larger cast of characters, Touken, Ranbu, Hanamaru, has an interesting premise, but to me was executed very poorly. Every character in the show used to be a sword, but then they got turned into extremely feminine men to fight against evil time demons or something like that, and they work for some unknown shadow lord whose identity won't be known until probably later in the show. The show's format is too formulaic, though. They have a slice of life good old-fashioned time, then they go on a mission, and this happened for the first 2 episodes, and I assume every episode after that. And while it might work in the game it was adapted from, I wouldn't know. It doesn't in this, so it's a drop. Next up is Izetta the Last Witch, or as I like to call it, Sabrina, the Teenage POW. Its plot is essentially the plot to every Miyazaki movie ever. There's magic in a semi-historically accurate world, and there's a girl who has to save some place, or in this case there are 2 girls and one of them is the witch. I don't know, it's close enough. The things that make the show interesting though is A, the fact that she rides a fucking gun around and slings swords and spears and shit all over the place and flips a tank and god it's so fucking cool. And B, the relationship between the 2 main characters is a heartwarming story, but it's very war-focused. That being said, I think this is something that should be watched all at once to really feel the feels and continuous emotions of these characters. And yes, I really did just say feels unironically, I know, shoot me. A reverse harem? What's that, you may ask, if you are unfamiliar with the genre, as I was until I saw Gakuen Renaissance. Essentially, it's like a regular harem, where a boy has a bunch of girls and they lust after him, but instead, it's a girl being lusted after by a bunch of boys. Yay! This isn't a new genre or anything, but I think that it's important to understand what the genre is because this show is that genre down to a T. Basically, when the girl helps one of her classmates with her flower arranging, it turns into some kind of Disney musical, and they become closer as a result of her time spent with the boys. I've never watched a show like this before, so it's kind of fresh, and to me, it's by no means a terrible show. But it isn't interesting enough to keep me watching with it weekly, so I'll be putting it on hold for now. I would like to take a quick sidebar and give honorable mentions to all the Season 2 shows this season. I'm sure there were a lot of first seasons of all the Season 2 shows this season that were good and I didn't watch, but 2 that I did watch were Iron-Blooded Orphans and Bungou Stray Dogs Season 2. I recommend that you watch the first seasons of both these shows, but as to whether or not the second seasons are good, well, I'd like to keep that ambiguous for future video possibilities. Now, prisoners constantly escaping a prison that they refuse to leave should be funny and interesting, right? But instead, after the first episode, it's just half a gag show and half trying to create a cohesive story. Nanbaka doesn't know what it wants to be, and it's a little too all over the place. I really wanted to like this show because of how over the top it is and its oozing style, but alas, it disappointed me. So unfortunately, it'll be a drop. Another show that's all over the place, but in a good way, is the cute little adventure anime Flip Flappers. It reminds me of Kill la Kill in its story and its characters almost, but it couldn't be more different personality-wise. Long story short, there's a shady organization and 2 girls work for them and they search for crystals or something and they go on constant acid trips. It's a lot of fun so far and it has the structure to be watchable weekly and still works, so I can't help but indulge myself in their crazy adventure. An adventure I want to avoid, however, is the one that Trickster is trying to push on me. It's essentially like anime Hardy Boys, but there's a character who can't interact with people because of this weird death force field around him, and I just couldn't care less. Mystery shows are usually pretty hit or miss for me, and this one was just a terribly mediocre miss. Now we're entering another category portion of the video. Excluding Tiger Mask because it doesn't really count, there were 3 sports-related anime premiering this season. All Out was probably the least interesting sports anime of the season because it follows the typical sports anime format. One guy is good, the other one is not so good. The only real difference is that it's about rugby, so everybody looks like they do steroids and there's a lot they can do in the actual action scenes. So far it may seem generic, but it hasn't really had time to make itself stand out yet, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and put it on hold. Boobs, butts, and sports. The Holy Trinity. I'm sure most people watching this video have at least heard about Keijo by now. But if you haven't heard about the plot yet, It's about a sport where girls wearing bathing suits get on an American Gladiator-style platform while trying to push each other off with their, assets. It's any eki lover's dream, but it's also very similar to a shonen action series in the way that they fight in this game. It's also very aware of what it is, so it's a really fun ride that I can't seem to stop watching. The last of the 3 sports anime is Yuri on Ice, or as I like to call it, ice skating. Yeah, I know it was terrible, but at least I didn't say yaoi on ice, right? This is another anime that a lot of people would say is the best of the season, and I don't disagree with them, but I have something else pegged for number 1. Yuri is a professional skater in a rut, but then his idol offers to train him, and it's beautifully animated when they skate, and its opening is mwah, and the themes that it's headed for are great, and everyone should watch it. I would put it at my number 2 this season for sure. If Yuri is my number 2 pick, though, then what could possibly be my number 1, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. It's none other than one of the least talked about good shows this season as far as I know, Threegatsu no Lion, or March Comes In Like a Lion. This is a show that completely caught me off guard and really pleasantly surprised me. It vaguely reminds me of Your Lie in April and, a few other things, but it had a much stronger start, and in my opinion, the best first episode of this season. Everything works perfectly together to set the somber tone of the main character as the show slowly reveals his past. He's also a shogi player, but that's just a minor element that seems to move the plot forward, and you don't need any prior knowledge about shogi to enjoy the show. In the first episode, there is an amazing sequence where the character doesn't say a word for almost half the episode. The direction in this sequence and its other episodes that follow, especially in collaboration with the art, is so visually pleasing and gets the exact message across that it needs to every time. Even its comedy bits are used intelligently to cut away from the main character's grim thoughts or depression, and it's something that works very well with its, again, amazing direction by Akiyuki Shinbo and the rest of Shaft, even though people seem to be disappointed with their other works these days. I think what's most impressive though is how it made such an impression on me in so little time. My opinion could possibly change on the show when it's done, but for now I'm looking forward to this show most this season. Unfortunately, however, this falls under the on hold category technically because its intention is to evoke emotion. It looks like this will be running for 2 seasons with its 23 episodes slotted, however, so I might not be able to wait that long before I jump back in. Either way, I would say to check it out now or wait and watch it all at once. But I'll warn you now, if you don't typically like shows that are supposed to be sad and evoke emotion, then I would keep away from this one, since that's the central point. Those are all the shows I watched this season, but I'll be doing a follow-up video after the season wraps up. This is my first season video, so let me know how I did. Also let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comments below, or even if there was a show that I missed that was also good this season. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe or like the video to support me. This has been God Tier Wizard, and my thoughts on the Fall 2016 season of anime. Thanks for watching.